Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 267 of the RRBG podcast. This podcast is a proud member of the Podbelly Network. Go to podbelly.com and check out all the amazing shows we have on our network, including the Sofa King podcast, Robots for Eyes, Art and Jacob Do America. I mean, there's one for everything that you're into. If you're into Magic the Gathering, they got you. If you're into the occult, they got you. You're into serial killers, they got you. Everything. Go to podbelly.com, check out the list, and support the network. This episode is also brought to you by Killcliff. My friends over at Killcliff make the best energy drink you can buy in the market today. Clean energy, none of that crap that they put in Monster or any of those Red Bulls. No sugar, just clean power for all the grind you're going to have to put in today. And if you're not grinding today and you just want to relax, they also have CBD drinks to help you recover from any injuries you may have, any kind of inflammation. Maybe you went a little too hard at the gym. CBD drink will get you right back on track. Go to their website, killcliff.com. Check out all their different flavors. My personal favorite Ignite drink is the Cherry Limeade. And in the CBD category, you have to try the Joe Rogan Special. It's the Flaming Joe Pineapple with Jalapeno. It's not that spicy. You just get a little bit of a kick at the end. It's delicious. Go to killcliff.com and tell them that RRBG sent you. This episode is also brought to you by our good friends at Saints Joints. Go to saintsjoints.com to check out all the options that they have. They have these amazing packages with pre-roll joints, which will have pre-rolls from either side of the strain spectrum, either indica or sativa, and they even have multi-strain collections. Pick up one of their amazing Book of Saints. They currently have 2 volumes, volume 2 being a special Halloween edition. It looks like the Necronomicon. It's amazing. They're currently available in Washington and Oregon and will soon be available in California. Go to saintsjoints.com and tell them that RRBG sent you. This episode is also brought to you by our friends at Thunderking Coffee. Thunderking provides organic, air-roasted coffee straight out of Costa Mesa, California. It's seriously some of the best coffee I've ever had. My personal favorite is the Positive Morning Attitude. I order 2 pounds of this almost every 2 weeks because I just can't get enough. But they also have bottled cold brew. They have their special California Christmas peppermint cold brew out right now. You can order it from their website. So go to thunderkingcoffee.com and check it out. Support small, independent businesses, people. In this episode, I talked to Jason Baker. He is a special effects artist and director. He works closely with Tom Savini over at Callosum Stuidos. They're responsible for some of the best special effects you'll see out in the entertainment business, including Bray Wyatt's The Fiend mask. If you're a professional wrestling fan, they designed the mask for the new movie Black Phone with Ethan Hawke. They've done stuff for the WWE. They've worked, obviously, any of the movies that Tom Savini's worked on. They worked with Slipknot on Corey Taylor's mask. Pretty much everything that I consider cool, they're involved in it in some way. It was a really great time talking to him, getting to know his process a little bit, talked a little bit about wrestling, talked a little bit about special effects and the differences between CG and practical effects. It was a great time. I hope you guys enjoy it. Make sure to follow him on all the social medias. He's at Baking Jason. Follow the studio at Callosum Stuidos. Go to callosumstudios.com if you want to buy one of their really cool face masks with the Jason or the Silence of the Lambs. And if you get a chance, please go ahead and press the little follow button if you haven't done so yet. Subscribe, heart, bells, notifications, all the things. Help us out. Put us on the algorithm. Get the word out. And check out our Patreon page. Go to patreon.com/RRBG. Support the podcast. Be part of the club. Cheers.
Classic Slate.
Yeah, right. So professional.
Dude, I was working on a documentary one time, and John Carpenter actually taught me a really cool way to slate besides just clapping.
Oh,
what you do is you point your camera at your boom pole and tap it, and you get audio spikes, and you just match them up.
So one of these, you just do a little.
Yeah.
Yeah, that does work.
Cool.
We do that at live shows when we want to test the mics, you know.
But it's still just cool. It's like John Carpenter just teaching us shit without even realizing he's teaching us shit.
So you're taking lessons from John Carpenter.
Yeah. Just giving them out, not even realizing it.
Jeez, man. It's, that's amazing. The guy's a legend. So what can you do? Let me do the proper intro for everyone. Yeah. Just in case anybody here is not aware. Welcome to the RRBG podcast. I'm here with Mr. Jason Baker. I'll see if I can get the name of the studio right. I'm Latino, so I want to say Callosum Stuidos. But
Callosum should be, because I'm also Latino.
Okay, all right.
It's Callosum.
Callosum Studios.
Yeah.
Out of Pittsburgh.
Yes, sir.
And man, you guys are busy bees.
Trying.
It's so funny because I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I found you through a post that went like viral-ish with, it was you and Bray hanging out in Hollywood. And I was like, oh, I thought it was Tom Savini. You know what I mean? And then I looked into it. And I'm like, oh, wait, that's the studio. Oh, wait, there's, you know what I mean? It all clicked at that moment in time. I'm like, And then I looked through your history, your reel, your website. If you go to the studio website and it's like a little reel playing. And it's like, man, there's just so much shit that I've been enjoying my whole life, not knowing that you're working on it.
Yeah. No, long story short is I started working for Tom about 10, 11 years ago. And, Tom has paid his dues, he's, revolutionized the industry. Yeah. And now it's time for Tom to get to enjoy life. So we've kind of taken over the reins. Okay. Tom's always involved with everything, but, just the little in and out day-to-day stuff we take care of for him. So we joke about how Tom's Santa Claus and we're the Christmas elves.
That's great, man. But yeah, you guys.
But he does work more than one day a year. So unlike Santa Claus.
Yeah. I just found it interesting that, when like the word started getting out to the public of certain things, like, okay, Corey Taylor's working with Tom Savini on a mask, but it was you.
Well, Tom was involved. Yeah.
Tom was involved, but it was more, you're like you said, you're steering the ship at this point, kind of.
Yeah. Tom's steering. I'm just kind of whipping the crew, I guess.
Oh, okay. Wait. No, you don't want to get canceled. Don't say that. I'm just no. There's
safe words when we're whipping the crew.
Oh, okay. It's part of the kink. That's good.
Yeah. They signed up for our OnlyFans. They know what they were getting.
But yeah, man, I've been a fan of the work that's been pumping out of the studio. Just the Fiend, for example, one of my favorite things that WWE's done. I grew up loving the old school, like Kane and Undertaker. So when that became a thing, I was like, this is perfect. This is what I want. And just the mask itself, very Joker-esque, and I'm a big fan of the Joker. I have a Joker right there. So, it really just clicked, and then seeing also like, okay, there's the Corey Taylor mask, and there's the company did the Triple H skull stuff at one point. You guys have been around. You're working with Code Orange, right? I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we do a lot with them. They're great guys. Big thing, we got the Black Phone with Ethan Hawke coming out in June.
Right, dude. Talk to me about the Hawkaissance that we're going through right now.
Dude, I'm all for it, man.
It's so great.
Great. I'm like. The three things I'm excited for, obviously, I'm a little biased, super stoked for Black Phone, have to be.
Yeah.
The Northman looks amazing.
Yes.
And then he's in Moon Knight. So I'm like, yeah, give me all the Ethan Hawkes.
Man, it's so when I first saw an image of the Black Phone, immediately, like I knew it was you guys. I was like, that looks too good. I know where that's coming from. And then I looked it up and I'm like, yep. It's great, man. And I haven't seen the movie yet. I really want to see it, though. There's a few movies I've missed. I missed Dune. I haven't seen it yet, so I just don't have time right now for movies. I have to, when I watch movies now, I break them into episodes myself. I do 30 minutes. When I see a lull in the story, I'm like, good time to pause. We'll pick this up later.
Anytime I watch a movie, I'm like, it's like that scene in Trainspotting where he tries to like kick heroin, where he like has to like nail the door shut and get the bucket. That's how I have to watch movies now. I have to like turn my phone off, nail my door shut, and just like sit there, because I'm like, it's, I mean, it's just kind of hard to get away or sit down or luckily the theaters are back open again. I'm like, I have to sit and watch a movie, which I love going to the movies. I fucking hate people who like just, you pay $20, put your phone away.
Yeah. My last theater experience was cool because,
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
I know. I was going to say, like, at anytime I watch a movie at home, I'm a horrible offender being on my phone and being that person. I'm like, I have to like turn it off and just toss it on the floor.
Well, you're busy, man. You have a business to run. Yeah. You're working with some of the biggest names in the business. You're in both music and wrestling and other things, movies. Like, it's just, it's nuts. And I love to see it because I'm a big fan of, practical effects, building things out. I like masks, and I don't like the CG shit.
Yeah.
And I've been a fan of everything you guys have been putting out. So I'm stoked for the growth that it's getting. Like, it's going to continue growing from here. I mean, have you already considered, what's the next step for you?
Hopefully a vacation. Maybe.
Yes. So, vacation would be nice.
Yeah, a few days off, no big deal.
Shit. I know you. Well, so you, from that picture I was mentioning, you have a film maybe you're working on in Hollywood with Wyndham. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yep.
I don't know how much you can say about it, but
Yeah. It's happening. It's going.
Okay.
Did some stuff in November in Tennessee, and we're working on some more stuff, and it's coming along. And yeah, hopefully people like it once we finally get it all put together. Okay.
I'm looking forward to it. I mean, he's a great mind for that, and you the talent you guys have on your side with creating the actual makeup and props and everything. I mean, it's world class. So that's exciting.
I had such a blast working with him and directing him with the when we did the original first 8 Firefly Funhouse segments that, we just clicked and become really good friends. And we just, he's an amazing collaborator. He's one of the smartest people I know. So he's, I'm like, why wouldn't I want to?
Absolutely. I mean, that's an honor for anyone, I think.
Yeah. And, we got some other really good people involved. And just, it should be fun. Should be fun once we finally get to put, boots to the ground, which is always the hardest part.
Yeah.
Just getting all your ducks in a row, and which we're working on, and, going from there.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, I mean, there's still the rumor floating around. People are very hopeful that he'll come back to pro wrestling. I don't know how much you're willing to talk about it, but, I mean, how do you feel about how everything went down? Because I was upset. And I'm not even like that big of a fan where I'm, of pro wrestling, not Bray. I'm saying of pro wrestling as a whole. Like, I'm not like I was when I was a kid, where like it was life and death for me. Like, now I'm watching because I appreciate it. And I was actually upset when everything happened with him, because I was like, this is your best fucking thing. What are you doing? So do you have any, like, what can you say about it? What are your feelings on that?
Honestly, it's all above my pay grade. You know what I mean?
I like that answer.
I'm gonna stay in my pay grade. I'm gonna stay in my pay lane.
Okay.
Like, again, we have an amazing I have an amazing relationship with Wyndham, with Bray. I have an amazing relationship with WWE.
Okay.
WWE's been amazing to us. Of course I wish Wyndham was still there. Some of the funnest things I ever got to do in my career, professionally and personally, was involved with him and WWE. But, I'm like, but again, circumstances that I was not a part of, that I don't know exactly what happened, went down. And it's just, it's just sort of how it goes, you know? And so would I like to see him back there? Of course.
Absolutely.
But, is he going to be? I have no idea, and even if he was, I wouldn't want to know, because I want to be surprised just like everybody else.
Right. That's one thing people don't get. Yeah.
If he does come back, I hope that he doesn't tell me. I hope he goes up and I find out like everyone else. That's always the best, because one of the downfalls to working behind the scenes is you kind of know everything before, you know how the movie's going to end, how, what's coming next. So getting to be surprised like everyone else is always such a treat. So I'm like,
right.
I hope I don't know. I want us to find out like everybody else.
That's a good feeling. It's true. That is true. The surprise element goes away when you work in this, in the industry at any point. So, every time I go to a concert now, the first thing I do is look at their lighting rig. So,
yeah,
it's a lot of work. But yeah, that's. I hope that's how it goes down for you. Honestly, I was just asking personally. I know it's above pay grade and stuff shouldn't be said. So I don't want to get you in any kind of.
Honestly, I don't know. I mean, that's the thing is that I'm like we're our company and we have a relationship with WWE as a vendor, client, proprietor of effects to them, but we don't actually work for them.
Right.
So there's just certain things that happen in Connecticut up in Titan.
Right. You just get the invoice like, hey, this is what's happening. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, we get we get the call and we go. That's it. They're like, we need this, and this, and can you have it to us by, XYZ? We're like, yeah, let's do it. Let's go. Okay. And
when it comes to those type of deals, I mean, how much creative freedom are you getting? Because I know that for like the Fiend stuff, like he had a lot of control and was able to have say. But when, like you say, when they call you, like we need this, and this, like how much input are you having in terms of the creative of what it looks like and shaping it and whatnot?
Again, WWE's been amazing to us. They trust us a lot with stuff. There's cool. Obviously what they have in their vision sort of things. There's sometimes there's minor tweaks for logistics, that need to happen, things of that nature. Where you're like, hey man, look, like the concept art might not fit this person's face. So we might have to tweak it here and there to, make sure it comes around, if the concept art stops, above the chin, it's like, hey, can we bring it below the chin? So, make sure it stays on the face. So if they're working and they're wrestling, it does come off, just little conversations like that
technical stuff
very open to, just to, cause everybody's always on the same side. Everybody wants to put the best foot forward. Everybody wants to make the best thing, the best product possible. Yeah. Not only us here and me, myself and Tom, but also we want to give them the best product. And, also make sure that it's logistics. One of the interesting things that I've learned with working with WWE, and I'm so grateful for it, is we create things completely different now than we would for a film. Like, when you're making a mask for WWE, it's like, look, this thing is really going to get hit, really going to get beat up.
A lot of wear and tear, yeah.
Someone's really going to get punched. Someone's going to get kicked. Someone's going to get choked. Someone's going to get hit with a chair.
Yeah. Might get set on fire.
And then when it's done, someone's going to take it and they're going to shove it into a gym bag, throw it under an airplane for 6 hours where it's going to freeze, pull it out, rip it off, stick it back on their face the next day and do it all over again. When you're working on film, it's like, okay, someone's going to go over, they're going to place this on the actor's face. The actor's going to take 3 steps, say their lines. Someone's going to walk up, take it off of their face, put it back into a Pelican, and that's going to be it. So, it's really interesting just learning how to do stuff like that, and also learning how to make things for people to work in, making sure their visibility is a lot more open than you would with, like, say, an actor or, a mask for a movie or something. Of course, you want your talent and your stunt guys to be safe and everything, but
you're right. Yeah, it's different.
You want to be able to, you want wrestlers to be able to see everything and be able to be comfortable in it and be able to work in it. Because again, they're, they're wearing these things, 6 days a week, 5 days a week.
Yeah.
Or 50 weeks a year.
Yeah. So it's a lot of work. You got to also make it in a material that's easily to clean too, I'm assuming, because you don't want it to stink up. Right? Like, and they don't really have, tailors on that. Well, maybe they do, but I'm just wondering, like, the smell. There's got to be some kind of cleansing that happens, right?
Sometimes not so much.
Oh no.
There's a few that were just like, ugh.
That's where my brain goes when I see wrestling.
But there's been a few guys where I was like, I'm just, and girls, I'm like, I'm just gonna go Lysol this for you guys. I'll clear it out. I'll be right back.
Get that spray from the roller rink, you know, where they put it in the shoes.
Yeah, bowling alley stuff. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's crazy. I can't imagine. And I love that, you know, you have to kind of explore new techniques for materials and where it needs to be stitched so it doesn't break off or, you know, anything like that. That's insane.
No, Tom and I now, we have a joke because of WWE. We call it the Hunter test. Because Triple H breaks everything. Like anything we've ever made for him, he's like dropped or broke or thrown. And it's just, so now we're like, all right, well, let's kick it across the studio and see if it survives. And if it does, we've given it the Hunter test. So, and if it survives the Hunter test, we're like, okay, it's probably good to go out.
Okay. That's interesting. Yeah. I have to think, like, when I saw the Corey Taylor mask, which that one got a little bit of internet heat. Like people were. But I'm like, I don't know. Fuck the haters. Yeah, dude. I liked it. I like that it gives him the option also to change different colors for face paint, different effects, because it's kind of see-through.
Well, also, I loved it personally because it wasn't what people expected.
Right.
You know, people think Corey Taylor, they think Tom Savini, they think Leatherface, they think, you know, Jake Mongoloid, you know, some sort of dead skin mask or something. And it was something that was almost elegant. Yeah. And that to me was really fun because I'm like, isn't that what rock and roll and metal should be, is controversy and keeping people guessing and something new and different again. And for Corey to be able to change it was really, to me, I thought was great. It was, you know, so that way you're technically getting a new mask every single night, every performance.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it depends on the paint.
Yeah. And also coming like just from a technical aspect, it was really, really challenging and fun to figure out how we were going to do it, because usually when you make a silicone mask, you line it with a thing called power mesh, and then the silicone intertwines with that, so it gives it extra elasticity and gives it more durability. Well, we couldn't do that because it was completely translucent. Right. So, I mean, Tom and I look like fucking Heisenberg and Jesse Pinkman from Breaking Bad for like a week straight. We were like just playing around with different silicones and getting different samples from companies to figure out what would be the best, you know, what would be the best silicone that was translucent and skin safe and durable, and figuring that out. And then we, you know, when we finally got the mold done and we're running it in the mold room, in the fabrication room, we had to make a clean room because any little piece of dust, any little dirt, hair, anything fell in there, it was completely ruined.
Right. Yeah.
So it had to be like 100% silicone. So yeah, it was really funny. Like we did all this work and science and everything, and then it reveals and then the milk jug meme hits.
The milk jug.
Fuck you, internet.
The internet, man, it's one of those places, like, it's a love-hate relationship, you know, especially if you're on the creative side.
You know, again, I'm like, just to get to be a small fragment in the legacy that is Slipknot is so so honoring and rewarding to me. And Corey's just been so wonderful to work with and collaborate, and you know, I get to call him a friend now, and
that's awesome.
He's a wonderful human.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, he's everything I've seen for me, like he's another one that gets heat sometimes from people for being too outspoken or whatever. And I'm like, you know what? He's always doing good, and he's always trying to help other people. Like wait. Shock Rocker causes controversy. Yeah, right. Come on. But he's so prolific too, man. And I mean, what they're doing with Knotfest too is insane. Like I'm part of that now. We did the Knotfest beer pit box thing, which, you know, you can order beers that I selected from Knotfest, which is linked to Slipknot, which is, you know, it's like it's a cultural thing now at this point. Yeah. It's crazy. So how can you hate that kind of thing? Like it's so entrepreneurial and also, you know, helps create jobs, really, you know, if you want to put it that way. I love how inclusive they try to be. Yeah. You know, I'm like, I don't know any other band who is so self-aware of the fact that they wouldn't be where they are without their fan base. Yeah. With maggots. And it's like, you know, show me another band that is that self-aware of like how amazing their fan base is. Yeah. He takes a pro wrestling approach I think, when you look at that. And because I give that as an example for a lot of people that are in entertainment. Maybe I'm coming off as a nerd, but, look at what WWE is doing. They're like, oh, you watch that shit? I'm like, have you noticed that they are trending on all of the social media things? They are number one whenever they're on television. They got to be doing something right, yeah? Like, shouldn't you be analyzing that procedure?
You do know the star of the biggest TV show in the world right now is a wrestler.
Yeah.
The biggest movie star in the world right now is a wrestler.
People don't take that into consideration. They go, oh, wrestling's stupid.
Throw those out there, Yeah. The Rock and Peacemaker are locking it down.
Yeah. Yeah, it's absolutely a way to, engage with people, and what you do is such a big part of it. Like the second I saw the trailer for Black Phone, I had a feeling it was you guys. It had that vibe, of the style. I'm like, this is very like, it doesn't look like the Fiend mask, but immediately I'm like, kind of fiendish. I kind of dig that. And then the second I saw it, I'm like, oh yeah, of course it is. And you're creating an aesthetic. You're creating I don't know how to what word to use to explain it, but I guess it's aesthetic, right? Like when you see it, I can recognize what you're doing because you hear a voice in music. You're like, that's whatever. That's Billy Idol or that's whoever it is. And you're doing that, but visually, which is nuts.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah, man.
Again, it's not just because of Tom's blessing and Tom's supervision. So
Sure. But you're doing it too. Like it's not just, Tom is obviously worthy of all the adulations. He's gotten his flowers. By the way, the man is in his 60s and looks like a 30-year-old. I don't get it.
No, he's 75 now.
75.
75. Yeah, and in better shape than you and I combined.
Yeah. He would kick my ass for sure.
Oh yeah. I always make fun of him where you like every time I try to fight him, I'll kind of joke box with him.
Yeah.
He's like, you fucked me up. I'm like, Tom,
no.
You would Goku punch me back to 1982 where you'd be waiting for me looking exactly the fucking same to Goku punch me back to present time and just fuck me up. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. He's got that Ra's al Ghul blood, man. He's just immortal.
Ra's al Ghul, yep. I mean, I remember the first time I saw him was From Dusk Till Dawn, that whole famous scene with
he still looks the fucking same.
Yeah, I got to be careful with him around my wife, too.
Probably still do a backflip off the food table, too.
Yeah, I went to a convention where he was at, and I walked by with my wife, and my wife just paused and just stared. I'm like, what? She's like, it's Sex Machine. I'm like, you want to go say hi? She's like, yeah, let's go say hi. And she got a picture with him. I'm like, I got to be careful, Tom, in his 70s, you'll take my wife.
I know. No. Ric Flair was swooning on my wife a few years ago, and I was like, I ain't raising that baby. You better pump the brakes right now, lady.
Oh, man. The nature boy, the nature. So tell me, you're doing stuff for WWE. So are you like a big fan? Were you when you were a kid?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I grew up in the 80s, man.
Yeah.
I was all about it. Loved wrestling. Kind of got out of it, like Attitude Era, sort of. I don't know. Just kind of got swooped up with high school and football and college and life and everything.
Okay.
Hadn't watched it in probably almost 15 years, and started working with Tom. And Tom was like, "Hey, we got to do this thing for Triple H." And I was like, "Oh, cool, he's still there." Had no idea that Triple H pretty much ran the place.
Yeah.
And everything, and so I just, what it was just starting to meet some of the clients and going to shows. We'd have to go meet them and take them stuff, or, we'd make something for a guy and find out they were going to be in Philly or Baltimore or Cleveland, which is a few hour drive from here.
Yeah.
So we'd go and they'd, invite us to stay for the shows. And I'd never seen a live show before. And that gave me a newfound respect for just all of it, for, not only the mic skills, but just the pure athleticism of it.
Yeah.
And it's just that, and to do it and not kill each other.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you've seen countless videos of botched videos online and stuff. And you know, and guys get hurt even at the highest level, but it's, you know, there's definitely a common courtesy and just seeing the athleticism that goes into it and just the passion.
Yeah.
Seeing the dedication, you know, and seeing how dedicated they are and hearing their backstories and where they came from, you know, and just no different than any other person trying to make it in any other art or media, you know, just kind of humble beginnings, and you just grind and hustle and hopefully, you know, just keep working your way up to it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the things that attracted me to it for sure. I mean, when I was a kid, I did the 80s, obviously, Macho Man, Ultimate Warrior, all that. I fell off after the Attitude era where, like, when Stone Cold left. Yeah. Stone Cold kept me there because he was, I don't know, I was partying and drinking, and I was like, yeah, that's my dude, drinking beer. But right after he left, I kind of just stopped watching for a very long time. And then I went to a local show here in California, like an indie show. And I was like, whoa, it's like a rock show. It's like a punk show. Like everybody's standing and people are banging on the fucking canvas and there are crazy maneuvers happening and they're flying into the audience and just like, what is happening? This is great. And that kind of sparked all right, let me see what they're doing over at WWE these days then. You know, is it the same? Because this is fun. And then I got back into WWE and started watching everything. And I'm grateful because I caught the whole Fiend run. I thought it was fantastic. You know, they started doing the Joker and Harley kind of vibe with Alexa, I thought, for a bit. I thought that was pretty cool. But now lately I'm just kind of you know, I'm launching a wrestling show and I'm now have to watch everything all the time. I got to be informed.
Yeah. It's hard to keep up, man.
Yeah. There's so much, there's so many organizations that are, you know, picking up steam, but still there's too many.
Well, it seems like that's good though. It seems like, you know, I've been grateful enough to become friends with a lot of the guys over the years, and some of them have, you know, no longer work with WWE, but it seems like guys have been able to go out and have lucrative careers. It seems like for years it was either WWE or you were, you know, trying to sell 8x10s in a parking lot for $5.
Yep, in a bingo hall.
No middleman. And now it seems like there's all these other promotions and avenues and things of that nature. And it seems like in like the convention scene seems huge, especially with wrestling, which is really cool.
Yeah.
You know, it's just a cool thing knowing that there's places for guys to go out and make a name for themselves and make a living at something they love outside of WWE, which is so cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's all opportunity for everyone. Mm-hmm. And the opportunities are great. And it all depends on what you're trying to achieve. You know what I mean? And especially with WWE, like people give them a lot of heat and it's like, they're doing a thing and you have to figure out what you want to do. And if you can commit to that kind of thing that they're doing, like that's it. If you rather go your own way and be more independent, and then there's an avenue for you, go that way too.
I compare it to, it reminds me of how for years, like actors only wanted to be a movie star. It was either a movie star or you like embarrassingly were on television.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Being
Yeah.
a TV star was sort of a subpar to being a movie star. Now, like TV stars are as respected, if not more respected than film actors.
Yeah.
And, you know, and it just goes to show that there's places for people to go. And, you know, just that the fact that there's avenues for people to spread their creative wings, lack of a better word, is always just so encouraging.
Yeah. And it's all a matter of people opening up. It's, you know, opening up to ideas, because that's all that was. It was just a mental thing of like, oh yeah, TV is less than a movie theater. Mm-hmm. And now you see some of the old guard going back to TV, like, you know, because it's more respected now. Like people kind of like, oh yeah, TV shows are just as good. I would say
to me, what I mean with television is it seems like there's a lot more room to do creative content with television than there is with film. Seems like every film is almost like a reboot or a retread or something of that nature.
Yeah.
Compared to like television, you're like, wait, this just random off the wall thing is now a TV show? All right, that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and then they make a movie of the TV show.
Yeah. Yeah.
Try and condense 12 episodes into a 2-hour movie. Like, yeah, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
That's why I started falling in love with the format because of that. Just more content. You know, you're also people are like, oh, that was a short season of whatever. It's Always Sunny, and I'm like, it was still movie length. It was a movie.
Yeah.
They just broke it down. It was 6 episodes at 30 minutes each. That's a long time. That's it. It's not bad.
I like that a lot of streaming services and channels have gone back to that 1 episode a week thing.
Right. So no more binging.
Because I feel when when Netflix will drop a whole series, I'll just binge it. Like I'll sit down and I just gorge. Like it's I'm like a drunk with pizza. I just go. I'm like, oh, a whole new season of Punisher. Yeah, I'm gonna watch that in 13 hours straight. And it's just by the end episode, I'm like, I think someone got shot. I don't know what happened. Like you just kind of burned out. Like it was such an overload of information. Yeah. And that's one of the things I love. I love the fact that they break up, like, Mandalorian. Mandalorian is just such a water cooler topic in the nerd community, where it's every week. It's like, oh my God, you see this and that, and you notice they use the swing from the back, and if you pause it at 2 minutes and 34 seconds, and I'm just like, I fucking love that shit. And but just the fact that they spaced it out, so you get to appreciate every episode more, and especially knowing what goes into making television and things of that nature. So I like that approach.
Yeah, that's another show. I got to give them props
every week compared to just.
Yeah, I got to give them props for doing the practical effects as well. Like I love that they're going back to that less CG-ish. They're still CG, but it's. At least they're making some stuff. I love that. I will never, as a person that, was raised around that kind of stuff, those kind of old school horror, movies that had practical effects and all that. That's what I want. Yeah. I can see right through your computer bullshit. You know what I mean? Now, though, it's getting scary because you look at Book of Boba Fett and they put in Mark Hamill there and it's really close.
Yeah. It's pretty good. But
it's really, really close.
I'm like, would the world have fallen in love with Baby Yoda, or excuse me, Grogu?
If it was CG, yeah.
I don't think you would have been. I think everybody loves the fact that it was physical and it's this tiny little real thing that you can just oogle over because it's the cutest fucking thing in the world.
And you can buy one and you have it at home.
Yeah. Exclusively on this website.
And walk around your house with Grogu on your back, Yeah. I love it, man. People give that type of, oh, you're sellout, you're just trying. I'm like, yes. Yeah, of course I want to sell things. Yeah, I know. What are you talking about?
I took my daughter to Disneyland last year and going to Star Wars Land. Mm-hmm. And Land? I'm like, that was the coolest thing ever. I'm like, if you would have told me when I was a kid, like, dude, Star Tours was it. Like, Star Tours to me was like, that was the Taj Mahal of like amusement park rides.
Yeah.
When I was like 8-10 years old. Now I'm like, there's an entire land. I can go like drink blue milk and everything. I'm like, this is amazing. I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah. It's beautiful to me. I'm sorry. I'm not I guess I'm anti-corporate nonsense, but also not really. If you're creating something,
you gotta give it up. Dude, high five to George Lucas, man. He took something that nobody had a faith in, and he sold it for $4 billion.
Yep.
I'm like, if that's not punk rock, I don't know what is.
That's right.
Like, dude, a broke-ass film student from San Francisco built a legacy off of pirate movies, off of old westerns and samurai films, and then turned around and sold it for $4 billion.
People get jealous, man. People are like, well, no, now he's rich, and you're the one that's hating now. Yeah. They just did their thing. And go get that bag, as they say. I'm actually seeing that more these days on the internet, on Twitter and everything. They go get the bag or get that bag, and think, okay, yeah, at least people are being supportive. Go get the bag. Hell yeah, man. And I saw you guys have the shop. You're doing those face masks, talking about getting the bag.
That's been an adventure and a half.
Yeah.
With everything. So yeah, when COVID hit, we lost all man, we had like six projects lined up that all went bye in a week.
Oof.
So yeah, it was rough. We were like watching potentially six figures disappear from your future.
Because WWE was, like trying to figure it out, what they were doing because of the live shows, and movies are stopping production, right?
We had like two or three features in the works. Plus, we had a whole nother thing that we were talking about doing for WrestleMania. They got 86. Luckily, we got to do the Cena Firefly Funhouse match. That was a blast.
Oh, that was fun.
Sort of thing.
Yeah, that was fun.
So yeah, we did that, and then I just literally nothing, just sitting at home like the rest of the world, doing nothing, and then saw the whole that we should start wearing masks, and the idea came from actually my sister. She was telling me she took my nieces to the store. I think they were like 12 and 10 at the time. And they couldn't really figure it out. They kind of had a little bit of a meltdown. Just everybody's wearing masks, social distancing. It's a lot. The world changed really fast, and especially for little kids, it's a lot to kind of take in. So we had a few extra molds of masks just laying around the old shop, and I just put some filters in them and sent them out to them, and was like, here, now when you go to the store, you can treat it like Halloween, like trick or treat, have some fun with it. Trying to be supportive and be nice and, be fun, cool uncle. And I had a broken old goalie mask, and I was like, well, let's paint this up. So I painted it, did the same thing, painted it up, threw a filter in it, dropped it off at Tom's house. Like, it was funny, like Tom and I were joking about how, like, because, social distancing, and Tom's a little older, and, everybody was really cautious because nobody really knew anything at the time. So we'd like talk through like his glass screen door, almost like prison visits or something. And so like I dropped it off, gave it to him. He tried it on and took a photo and threw it up online. And Scott Ian from Anthrax,
Ooh.
I don't even remember how Scott got my number, hit me up. I was like, dude, how do I get one of those goalie masks?
Nice.
Like, well, I'll just make you one, Scott Ian of Anthrax.
Yeah, it's fascinating that people at that level can just get your phone number.
Yeah, and I was just like, sure thing, Scott Ian. And I'm sure I think you got it from Tom. So we made a few, and like I made one more, and I was like, oh yeah, we should, maybe people will buy them. And Tom was like, yeah, just throw them up on Instagram, and maybe we'll sell like 10 of them. And I think we got over 1,000 orders our first day.
Nice. I
think we got another 1,000 the second day, and they just kept going and going and going. And so we had a small studio at the time, and we actually had to like move and open our new studio to accommodate all of that. And but the beautiful thing is overnight we hired almost 20 people who were friends of Tom's and I's that some of them worked in the film industry here in Pittsburgh. Some of them were bartenders, worked in retail. Everybody had lost their jobs. And we were like, well, you think you can learn how to do this and this? And we'll teach you. You want a job?
Nice.
So we hired 20 people, and they came in, and that's all we did for months was just make masks and shipped them out to people for COVID. And it was just, I'm like, here you go. And, we're still getting sales. And if you're listening and you bought one and it took you forever to get it, we're sorry.
They're doing them by hand. God damn it.
Yeah. We've gotten a lot better, because again, it was, I'm like learning how to run a mass production studio or a factory of that magnitude we'd never done before. It was always, it's like, okay, we need to make X, Y, and Z. We got to have it done by this day. And then we got to take it to set. That's how, filmer, usually works. Or it's like, oh, we got to do this, and they need it here at WrestleMania in a week. Okay, perfect. Well, this, and this. Hey, we need to figure out how to crank these out, make these masks, crank them out as quickly as possible, and get them in the mail to people all over the world.
Yeah, that's easy.
Okay, yeah.
With ShipStation. Actually, no, wait, I'm not sponsored by them. Never mind.
Yeah. I was like, well, does anybody know how to like send anything through the mail? We should probably figure that out first. So
that's nuts, man. Was it a little terrifying?
I dumped all the adult stuff on my wife, and thank God she didn't. So she helped us find out everything and get the website up and going and figure out the shipping and everything. So yeah, if it wasn't for her, the whole thing would have fell apart.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's good to have. Support system there, and you know, and love. Cool. She's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But dude, I mean, was it terrifying when the orders came in? Because I mean, it's got to be exciting to like, oh my god, it's selling, but also, oh my god, what are we gonna do? It's gotta have that brief moment of, oh shit.
Yeah, and then you know, and then we almost started trying, not lack of a better word, not discouraging people, but letting people know up front, be like, hey, look, it's, you know,
it's gonna take a while.
We're looking at 3 weeks. We're looking at a month. We're looking at 6 weeks. You know, and they're like, cool, great. How do I, you know, put me in the queue? And we're like, oh, okay.
Well, everything kind of did that. I mean, vinyl records were affected dramatically, man. The vinyl press plants. I mean, I have records that I pre-ordered 6 months ago that they haven't even been made. The album came out on Spotify or whatever, but the record itself hasn't been made because there's like a 9 months queue right now to use the plants. It's nuts.
Yeah, I mean, and that was the other thing too, is we run into every possible problem you could think of. Like, what was it? We couldn't get plastic sheets for our vacuum machine for a week and a half because of the riots in Philly.
Yeah.
You know, or like we couldn't get this because of the freezing in Texas. We couldn't do this because it was just like, can just one thing go right? You know, and I'm like, I swear this isn't like a Ponzi scheme, people. We're shipping them out. We're trying to get them to you as quickly as possible. So, yeah.
And they're awesome, man, all of them. And there's so many options, too, dude. I'm looking through the site. I want one of each. But my favorite, the retro goalie.
Yeah.
That reminds me of the old NES game, so I like it.
That's totally. The first one I did was for my sister of that color, because that game would just, nothing would piss us off quicker than that fucking game.
A pain in the ass.
3 minutes later, like your life was just ruined.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome. So what's the plan now? Then, you know, I know do you have any projects now that are kind of pending? Not that you have to reveal names or anything, but just like how's the future looking?
We got a few films coming up. We got a few things. Obviously, Black Phone was supposed to come out today. Got shipped back to June, which we're really excited for. I think that means that I think the studio has a lot bigger faith in it. Hopefully that it'll do better and push it as a summer film.
Okay.
You know, it's always when they push it back towards the wintertime, you're kind of like, uh-oh. But if they're going to be like, you know, we want to put this in the summer, is always a good feeling. Plus, it seems like Scream is just kicking ass and taking names. So
yeah, people like it. They announced another one.
Yeah. So, you know, good on them. I know all the guys at Bearded Skull did the effects for Scream, did the effects for Black Phone, and they were a blast to work with.
Nice.
So hopefully they get Scream 6. You know, they've earned it. They deserve it. So
I think if they did a good job, which they seems like it did. I haven't seen it, but I hear good things, and I do want to watch it. I just, like I said, I'm so behind right now in movies that I want to watch, and I thought Black Phone was already out because I saw the trailers and I saw the posters and stuff. I'm like, oh, it must be out. I just, don't have time. I'll get to it, but I guess it got pushed back.
Yeah, so you got a few more months to get.
I'm good. I'll get to it.
Yeah. We got a few more. We got a few projects coming up. Nothing we can really talk about at the moment. Mm-hmm. Documentary I did on Tom, the Smoke and Mirrors, should finally, another thing that got totally jacked up because of COVID. It was supposed to be out on Blu-ray and DVD 2 years ago.
Shit.
It is finally coming out, I believe this month or next month, finally on physical release. Yeah, and just looking forward to the future.
How's the demand for physical, like Blu-rays and discs now? Because I used to collect Blu-rays quite a bit, and I've slowed down dramatically now because I'm like, well, I could just stream it, But
I think of everybody, you know, I think there's a lot of genre fans collect more than I think your average cinephile does anymore.
Yeah.
Hopefully it does well on Blu-ray and DVD. We packed it full of a bunch of extras and just a bunch of like footage and stuff that didn't make it into the film.
I miss that. I miss that from Blu-rays. I miss that from music CDs when they had the hidden tracks. We don't have that shit anymore.
Yeah.
What happened?
When bands would do stuff like, they'd put like 69 tracks on their albums. Like, You know,
That's right.
or Korn would drop a track with Cheech like 20 minutes into their album.
Yeah.
And like fast forward to get to it.
I miss that. It's like you know, I don't know. It makes it more interactive. Like we can't do that with streaming.
Yeah.
You just skip to the song.
Nuggets that like you have to like find out with like firsthand.
Yeah.
Nowadays, like you Google anything and they're like, oh yeah, did you see this Easter egg or this post-credit scene or did you hear this? You're like, oh, well, thanks. But you know,
now I don't want to go look for it.
Yeah.
Right.
I was talking to one of our crew guys the other day. And one of the things I miss is the nerd shaman.
The nerd shaman.
Growing up, everybody had that nerd shaman. There was always that one older guy who either worked at the video store or the comic book shop or the record store. And he'd always kind of like tell you about the scene back in the day or like tell you about a band that you should be checking out or a movie you should be seeing or you know, something. There was always just these like kind of like older gentlemen who you look back and you're like, man, that guy probably never got laid.
I was about to say that kind of sounds like me up until you said the getting laid part.
Yeah, you know, it's like the guy from The Simpsons.
Right, yeah.
Just that we nicknamed him the nerd shaman, where it was just like they'd always tell you about like some like cool comic book that you should be reading, or you know, some weird obscure like Korean revenge film from like the 80s that you've never even heard of that you should probably check out. There's
one of those dudes at Comic Bug in El Segundo or Manhattan Beach around there.
Yeah.
He works there, and like every time I walk in, he's like, what are you looking for? And I'm like, I don't know. There's this old comic from when I was a kid. It had a really different style. He's like, it's this guy right here. I'm like, oh, okay. Thanks.
Yeah. Luckily, there's still a place like that here in Pittsburgh. It's called Ides. And it's 4 stories of just nerd heaven.
Nice.
So pretty much if like the comic book shop and Amoeba Records had a love child.
Ooh. That's in Pittsburgh?
Yeah. Shout out to Ides.
I might have to come visit.
I know. Basement level is comic books, action figures. Second floor is more comic books, action figures, Blu-rays. Third floor is DVDs and Blu-rays and books. And then the top floor is records and CDs.
How far is that from Philly?
About 5 hours.
Oh, shit. Okay, never mind. Yeah, that's right, because Pennsylvania is kind of like a rectangle, right?
Yeah, weird.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm not from here originally, so I'm still kind of learning where everything is. And it's kind of weird. Like it takes you longer to get to Philly than it does Baltimore, but Baltimore's in another state. Or
yeah,
they were drunk when they came up with all these state lines over here.
Well, I mean, I'm from Jersey, so I'm familiar with the territory. But it's a weird state. But I was just asking because I might be heading over to Philly for Decibel Metal and Beer Fest. And I was like, oh, I'll just go to the thing after. But that's 5 hours. I don't know. That's a different. Yeah. That's a separate trip.
Yeah, and then 5 hours back.
Yeah,
I mean, you got to make 2 turns. Just get on the turnpike and then get off. But still.
Yeah. So I'm glad to hear you have some more projects in the works, man. Like I said, I'm a big fan. Ever since I saw, that you're involved, and I'm like, well, I felt like I was missing out, and I feel like that a lot. Sometimes, I think that's the purpose of Instagram, to give you FOMO, and make you feel like you're missing out on things. But I'm glad that we connected and I got to talk to you a bit, man, because I appreciate a lot of the work you're putting in, and I'm a big fan.
No, man, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, man. Plug away, please. All the things, the studio, yourself. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, if you guys want to check us out, check out the website for the studios, callosumstudios.com. Check me out. Check out our website on social media. It's also just at Callosum Studios, at Baking Jason. That's my handle for all the good stuff. And thanks for all your support.
All right. Hang tight before when we say goodbye. Don't leave.
All right.
Hey, thanks everyone for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe down there and push a button, push the heart button, push the bell button, all the buttons. Smash them, destroy them, follow Jason and his endeavors. I'm really excited for the future of it, and I can't wait to see the Black Phone. I'm honestly, I'm like I said, the Hawkassance, whatever we call it. I'm in for it. But anyway, cheers everybody.